Hey golfers, do you know there's a Japanese word that doesn't really translate into English? And viewers, that word is wabi-sabi. In English, the closest we can get is something like the beauty of imperfect or impermanent or incomplete things, a weathered piece of wood, or garden that's allowed to change with the seasons, instead of being kept artificially perfect. And what does any of that have to do with your golf game? Everything, actually.
Oh.
Because if you've ever stood on the 18th tee thinking, today doesn't count, I wasn't playing my real game, or beating yourself up for a round that wasn't good enough, you've been operating on the exact opposite of wabi-sabi. And it might be quietly wrecking your relationship with this game. Today, we're going to unpack wabi-sabi and use it to fix one of the most common and least talked about mental traps in amateur golf. Let's dive in.
Oh.
We're going to break this down for you into 4 easy-to-digest segments. So let's begin with segment 1. What wabi-sabi actually means. Wabi-sabi comes out of Japanese aesthetics, heavily shaped by Zen Buddhism, going back roughly to the 15th century. It's built from 2 ideas. Firstly, the term wabi. Originally, it suggested something like loneliness or austerity. But over time, it came to mean a kind of quiet, understated beauty. It's the beauty of simplicity, of something that isn't trying to impress you. Okay, let's explore the sabi part of the idea. It's all about the beauty that comes with age and use. The patina on old metal. The way wood grain deepens over decades. The way a path gets smoother from constant footsteps. And when these are put together, wabi-sabi describes an entire worldview. Nothing is permanent, nothing is finished, nothing is perfect. And that's not a flaw in the world. That's just what things actually are. The essence of the idea here is that beauty isn't found despite imperfection. It is found in it. So golfers, let's think about how that compares to the mindset most of us bring to golf. We treat perfect golf as the goal, and anything short of that is seen as a deviation, a problem, something to be fixed or hidden. But the key difference here is that wabi-sabi simply doesn't operate on that axis at all. Okay, viewers, let's move on to segment 2. Why you keep waiting for your real game? Here's where this gets personal for golfers. Almost every amateur player carries around an invisible idea of their real game. Some best version of themselves that exists somewhere, that they occasionally touch on a great day, and importantly, that they're constantly falling short of on every other day. Does this sound familiar? You shoot a 92 on a tough day and think, that's not really my game. My game is more like an 85. You shoot a great front 9 and a rough back 9, and you remember the round as I fell apart on the back 9, rather than just, that's what the round was. This is the opposite of wabi-sabi in 2 specific ways. Firstly, it assumes permanence, that there's a fixed, true skill level underneath all the variation, and the variation is just noise to be explained away. But golf doesn't work that way, you see. Your skill level isn't a fixed number with deviations around it. What actually is an enormous range of outcomes depending on things like the weather conditions, sleep, nerves, and course setup. The range we're talking about here is the skill level. So, it's not a fixed and hidden, stable, real number underneath. Second, it treats incompleteness as failure. Round with 3 bad holes isn't an otherwise good round that's just ruined by 3 bad holes, wabi-sabi would say. It's simply a complete round that included 3 bad holes. The same way a weathered piece of wood is a complete piece of wood. That includes the weathering. The weathering isn't a flaw in the wood. It is the wood at this point in its life. If you're enjoying this content, please subscribe to the channel and check out the other content in the philosophy playlist at the end of the video. All right, golfers, let's move on to segment 3. Impermanence. Your game is a garden, not a monument. A core idea inside wabi-sabi is impermanence, for which the Japanese word is mujo. Traditional Japanese gardens are designed around this. They're not meant to look the same in every season, or even stay the same, year to year. The moss grows. Stones shift slightly. The garden changes. And that change is part of its beauty, not a maintenance failure. Your golf game is a garden, not a monument. Tour pros go through slumps. They change. Swing coaches have weeks where their putting completely disappears and weeks where it's automatic. Players who hit thousands of balls a week, under controlled conditions, still experience this much variability. What on earth makes an amateur golfer think their game should be stable? an amateur with a job, a family, sleep debt, and actual life happening around them. Wabi-Sabi suggests a different relationship with this variability. Instead of treating a bad stretch as evidence of something is wrong that needs fixing immediately, you can treat it the way you'd treat a garden in winter. This is just where things are right now. It's not permanent. It's not a verdict on you. It's just temporary weather. So the setback was never the problem. The belief that setbacks shouldn't happen was the problem. Okay, let's move on to the piece here, which is segment 4. 3 ways to apply Wabi-Sabi on the course. All right, viewers, let's turn this into something practical to take into your next round. We'll explore 3 ways to actually use this mindset during a round. Are you ready? Let's dive in.
Right.
Part 1. I want you to retire the phrase, "That's not like me. Whatever just happened, it is like you, because you just did it." And golfers, this isn't about lowering your standards or giving up on improvement. It's about removing the extra layer of suffering that comes from treating normal variation as some kind of identity crisis. The shot happened. It's data. It's not a big vote on who you are. Part 2. Let the round be unfinished while it's happening. A huge amount of in-round frustration comes from mentally finalizing the round too early, deciding after 9 holes that it's a bad one or a good one, and then playing the back 9, either coasting or tilting based on that verdict. Wabi-Sabi treats things as inherently incomplete and ongoing. The round isn't a good round or a bad round until it's actually over. And golfers, even then, it's just a round. It's one of many that you'll play, and therefore it's not a permanent statement. Okay, let's move on to part 3. Notice the texture, not just the score. This is a Wabi-Sabi idea, almost literally. Appreciating the worn, weathered, lived-in qualities of things rather than only the sniny and new polished ones. Try just once around, noticing something about the experience that has nothing to do with your score. If you're struggling to think of something, here's a few examples. 1. The way the wind is gently moving through the branches of the trees. 2. The sound of a well-struck shot, regardless of where it ended up. Or 3. The conversation with your group. So what those 3 examples show us is that when a round of golf is scored only on outcome, it's a game with most of its actual texture removed. Okay, golfers, let's wrap this Wabi-Sabi philosophy up for you. The summary. Your round is already complete. Here's the shift Wabi-Sabi offers. It's a big one if you let it land. You don't need today's round to be a deviation from some better real version of your game. In order for it to count, it doesn't need to be fixed, hidden, or somehow redeemed. Or explained away. The round you just played, mistakes, good shots, weird 3-hole stretch where nothing made sense. All of it is not an imperfect version of a round. It's just a round, complete as it is. The weathered wood isn't an imperfect tree. The cracked bowl isn't an imperfect bowl. And your 91 on a Tuesday, with a double on 7 and a great save on 14, isn't an imperfect round of golf. It's just golf. Right? And that might be exactly enough. If this resonated, hit subscribe. Every week, we translate sports psychology research into practical mental tools for amateur golfers. And if you want to go deeper on handling individual bad shots, check out the philosophy playlist. It's linked right here.